Hey, what's up, guys? Day 25 today, and we're hearing from Jeremiah on the topic of loneliness. And Jeremiah 15:17 says this: I never joined the people in their merry feast. I sat alone because your hand was on me. And so let me give some context here, because I think what's important to understand about Jeremiah is that he was, he's kind of referred to as the weeping prophet, but I think maybe a more accurate portrayal is he was like, I was the lonely prophet, which made him weepy. But he says this, have you ever, or the devotion says this, have you ever felt like you're on the outside looking in? Maybe it feels like you're the only one in your family or friend group who is committed to following Jesus while others live their lives apart from Christ. This is exactly how Jeremiah has felt as he drew closer to God. In some cases, and at different times, the price of following Jesus is loneliness. Your commitment to Jesus can create a gap between you and the people in your life, not because they're bad or, quote, terrible, but because they've not yet discovered the richness and joy that you have found in Jesus. This is exactly what Jesus warned us about in John 16. If you find yourself experiencing loneliness for this reason, here are two things to remember. One, have compassion on those who don't know Jesus and commit to pray for them. And two, remember that Jesus said in John 16:31 that God the Father is still with you. Now, this is, a great kind of perspective shifting devotion, because I think one of the things that happens when you follow, and maybe you've experienced this, especially if you came to Christ later in life, not as a child, but as a young adult or an older adult, and you already had a set of friends or a community that was established who maybe weren't following Jesus. And then when you gave your life to Jesus, you realized that like all of a sudden there was a gap or like like something that separated you. That's what Jeremiah was experiencing. He's like, you know what? I didn't join the celebrations. I didn't party with everyone else. I didn't do the things they did. And yet here I am all alone, all by myself. Like, what is my reward? I feel alone. And I think sometimes the cost of following Jesus and the price of following Jesus, leads us to this place where we wrestle with those same things, where we struggle with those same feelings of, I'm doing this by myself. No one gets me. I've been isolated or been kind of excommunicated from my family or from my friends because of my faith in God. And now I'm trying to navigate this on my own. And I love the simplicity of the devotion, how it just says, here are two things to remember. One, have compassion on those who don't know Jesus and commit to pray for them. I think it's one of the best things that we can do, because if not, we get bitter and it hardens our hearts. And then two, remember that Jesus said, God the Father is still with you. So like we talked about earlier in this month, we're never truly alone. God is always with us. It just doesn't always feel that way. And so we have to remind ourselves, we're going to commit to pray for these people, but also remember that God is always with us no matter how alone we feel.